So the November 2025 Visa Bulletin is here, and guess what? Not much moved in the employment-based green card categories and only tiny shifts in the family lines. What does that mean for your visa application? Will your interview date stay stalled? Will your priority date be stuck longer? In this video, you'll get every key update, every prediction, and the crucial steps you must take right now to stay ahead of the backlog. Because if you wait too long, you could miss your window. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. So, the November 2025 Visa Bulletin is here, and guess what? Not too much movement in the employment-based categories and very little movement in the family-based categories. But what does that actually mean for you, your visa application, your interview, your green card hopes? Let's unpack exactly what the numbers show, why the lack of movement matters, and what you need to do right now to stay ahead of this queue. John Smith, welcome back to the channel. Each month, we break down the priority date cutoffs, the filing and final action charts, and what shift or no shift in those dates means for real-life applicants. This month, there's a theme: stability, or put another way, waiting. The system didn't surge ahead in November. It held firm. That's a signal, and for many of you, it's a caution. First, let's look at the employment-based EB categories. According to law firm and immigration law updates, the final action dates for November 2025 held steady, with no advancement for EB1, EB2, EB3 in the all other countries tier, and only minimal or none for major countries like China and India. For example, EB1 China remains at December 22, 2022, and EB1 India at February 15, 2022. All other countries remain current. For EB2, China remains at April 1, 2021, and India remains at April 1, 2013. All other countries remain at December 1, 2023. In short, no meaningful forward move in cutoff dates for most employment-based applicants. Next, the dates for filing chart for employment-based categories. Here too, the November bulletin showed no significant jump. For example, EB1 for China remains at May 15, 2023. India remains at April 15, 2023. All other countries remain current. EB2, China remains at December 1, 2021. India at December 1, 2013. All others at July 15, 2024. EB3, China at January 1, 2022, India at August 15, 2014, all others at July 1, 2023. The takeaway: employment-based applicants are facing a plateau month in November, not a breakthrough month. Now let's shift to the family-based FB categories. The final action dates largely continued to stagnate. The family-based final action chart showed little to no advancement for many categories. A legal bug summary noted that for the majority of family preference categories, the final action priority dates remained identical to those in the October 2025 Visa Bulletin. For the dates for filing chart in family-based categories, there were some modest movements. For example, F2A, spouses and children of permanent residents for all countries, advanced by 1 month to October 22, 2025. F2B, unmarried adult sons/daughters of LPRs for all other countries, advanced 2 months to March 8, 2017. F1 for Mexico advanced 4 and some months. F3 for Mexico advanced 3 months. F3 for Philippines advanced 3 months. But again, these shifts are modest and they don't change the big picture. The wait continues. So what is different this month? Why are we seeing this edge of motion rather than a leap forward? 2 big factors. 1. Fiscal year timing. We're in the early months of FY 2026, which started October 5th, 2025. At the beginning of a fiscal year, many visa numbers reset, some backlog declines, but the system is still calibrating. The October bulletin had shown more movement, especially in employment-based, as the new year kicked off. In November, the system is conserving headroom, maintaining stability, rather than pushing forward aggressively. 2. High demand and per country limits. Especially in categories for India and China, demand continues to outpace visa availability. Even when no cutoff dates move forward, visa numbers are being consumed. Analysts predicted that EB2 and EB3 for India may slow or could even hold for an extended period. That means no movement isn't neutral. It signals that you are still behind the line. Now, why does this matter for you? Let's break 3 implications If you're an employment-based applicant, this means that unless your priority date is already before the current cutoff, you likely will not move to the green card approval stage this month. Your window did not open wider in November. So if you're waiting for EB2 or EB3 from India or China, you should prepare for potentially longer wait times or more incremental advancement, not big leaps. If you're a family-based applicant, modest movement in dates for filing is helpful in that it gives you a chance to file adjustment of status or consular case sooner. But the final action visa issuance remains unchanged. That means you can prepare, submit documents, but you should not assume interview scheduling or visa availability will meaningfully improve this month. If you are ready to act now, hold on to your readiness. With employment-based categories stagnant, being prepared, documents ready, filings ready becomes more critical. If you delay filing now or don't have everything primed, then when a bulletin does move, you could miss the momentum. Finally, let's connect this back to the bigger question and what keeps you up at night. The November bulletin leads you into a phase of waiting with preparation. It's not a rush forward. It's a caution period. The system is telling you, be ready. The window may open, but only when you are prepared. If you're sitting with incomplete files, old medical exams, missing translations, incomplete tax records, then when the next push comes, you may lose advantage. So this segment isn't about panic, it's about using a plateau as preparation time. To wrap up, November 2025 brought stability, mostly not movement. Employment-based categories show minimal or no advancement. Family-based categories show tiny movement in some filing charts, but final action dates remain mostly unchanged. That means the line is still long, and for many categories, you're still waiting. But waiting doesn't mean passive. This is a window to refine your case, get paperwork ready, and position yourself for the next surge. Because once the next bulletin shifts, you'll be in the queue or behind it depending on how ready you are. In the next segment, we'll cover what you must do now, the practical action steps to protect your spot, leverage this moment, and get ahead for December 2025 and beyond. Stay tuned. Now that we've seen what changed, or more accurately, what didn't change in the November 2025 Visa Bulletin for November 2025, let's pull back the curtain on the deeper story. Why the charts are stalling, who's being affected most, and the hidden risks you must understand, because when the visible numbers hold, the pressure builds. And that's where your case can either gain traction or lose ground. First, let's talk about the bulletin's employment-based categories. According to the Department of State's posted final action dates, FAD and dates for filing, DFF charts, November showed virtually no advancement in EB1 through EB3 for most countries. The chart shows EB1, all chargeability areas except those listed current, meaning no backlog. But for China and India, the dates remain December 22, 2022 and February 15, 2022, respectively. EB2 China remains at April 1, 2021, EB2 India at August 2013, EB3 India at August 2013, EB3 China at March 1, 2021, all other countries largely unchanged. What that means, if your priority date is after those cutoff dates, you're still waiting in the same place as last month. That stall is not a neutral pause. It is a signal of backlog saturation. The queue is deep, demand remains high, and visa numbers are being consumed by older dated applicants. Why is stagnation happening? Two big reasons. One, per country caps. The law limits the number of immigrant visas for each country. For India and China, demand exceeds supply. Even when other categories can move, these countries often hit the cap first. Two, fiscal year context. November falls early in fiscal year 2026, FY26, meaning the system is still managing carryovers numbers, newly allocated visa caps, and recalibrating after the October surge. Some analysts argue this first plateau month is expected, and that major movement may resume in January 2026. Let's dig deeper into the dates for filing, DFF chart for employment-based cases. Even though final action dates didn't move significantly, USCIS in November is again using the DFF chart for adjustment of submission filings for EB adjustment cases. What that means, some applicants with priority dates earlier than the DFF cutoff may now file I-485 even if their case won't yet be approved. This is important. Filing earlier secures your lock-in date, allows you to start work/travel benefits, and position positions you for the next surge. Applicants whose priority date just became eligible may benefit. But here's the nuance. Filing does not equal finishing. If you file under DFF, but your final action date isn't current, you still wait months or years, and you still risk retrogression, dates moving backward or slow processing. So if you act, you must prepare all documentation very tightly. Now let's shift focus to the family-based categories, where we did see modest movement, but the gains are small. For example, F2A, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents for all countries, advanced 1 month to October 22, 2025. F2B for all other countries advanced 2 months to March 8, 2017. For Mexico, F2B advanced 5 months to May 15, 2009. These are positive but incremental. The final action dates remained mostly the same in many categories, meaning interviews and visa availability did not accelerate meaningfully. So for many families, the message remains, yes, you can file sooner if you're inside the US and qualify, but you may not finish sooner. Who is worst impacted in this scenario? Applicants from high-demand countries in India, China, in employment-based categories. They are still years behind, and the stagnation means waiting continues. People who assumed the big jump would arrive this month. Many were expecting relief after the October surge. This map shows the next major movements may be delayed. Applicants in incomplete status. If you haven't filed or collected documents yet, the stagnation means the window of readiness matters more than ever. Being ready when the window opens is critical. Applicants in family-based categories, but not yet eligible to file. The small advances give a signal, but only if you are already in legal status and can act. What are the hidden risks you might not be focused on? Because employment-based cutoffs didn't advance, your predicted timeline may be overly optimistic. If you told yourself, I'll get my green card this year, you now need to revise plans. Retrogression is still possible. When dates are stable, it may mean the quota is full and oversubscribed. If many more applicants' priority dates become eligible, the Department of State may reverse dates. For many who are eligible to file, not filing now could mean missed opportunity. When the next movement arrives, you want your paperwork ready. If not, you risk losing your spot. If you're in legal status in the US, relying only on final action dates may be a mistake. If you miss the dates for filing window, you could keep waiting longer while others file and start work. / travel benefits. At this point, you should ask, where does all of this lead to? It leads into the next phase, a period of consolidation and preparation. The bulletin doesn't reward impatience, it rewards preparedness. If you're already ready for filing, you may benefit immediately. If not, the waiting time will stretch. Here's what you should track moving forward. Watch for signs of movement in January 2026. Many analysts expect the next large jump to occur then. Monitor whether USCIS continues to use the DFF chart for employment-based filings. This remains a tool for earlier filing. For family-based applicants, watch if final action dates begin to advance meaningfully after the early fiscal year pause. Keep an eye on demand metrics. When backlog numbers drop or visa issuances increase, movement follows. So what should you do right now in the next 90 days? Collect your documents even if your priority date isn't yet current. That way, when cutoffs move, you're ready to file. If your priority date is already before the DFF cutoff, strongly consider filing adjustment of status this month. You may gain work authorization and travelability. Review your timeline and expectations. If you anticipated approval this year, adjust your plan for delay. But discuss alternative strategies, especially if you're from India or China. In an employment-based queue, consider self-petition options, EB-1A, NIW, or investment options, EB-5, instead of relying solely on employer-sponsored EB-2/EB-3. Stay vigilant for retrogression risks. If announcements suggest oversubscription, you may need to act quickly to preserve eligibility. In short, segment 2 isn't about despair, it's about clarity. The November 2025 bulletin shows a pause, not a push. And when the system pauses, readiness becomes your advantage. Because when the next push comes, you want to be among those who can act and not still waiting to assemble paperwork. Stay ready, stay informed. Because where this leads depends heavily on what you do now. Now that we've decoded the November 2025 Visa Bulletin and the reasons behind the stall, let's look forward. Because what happens next between now and February 2026 will determine whether your case speeds up, holds steady, or sinks deeper into backlog. The system may look frozen, but under the surface, the data tells a different story. Pressure is building. Let's start with the December 2025 predictions. According to projections from immigration analysts and attorneys tracking the State Department's trends, December is likely to bring limited advancement in both employment and family-based categories, if any at all. The October surge used up most of the available headroom. November served as a cooling period. That means December may show only marginal forward movement. Think days or weeks, not months. For employment-based EB1 categories, experts expect EB1 to stay current for most countries, but India and China may not move until at least February 2026. EB2, rest of world, could see a minor push, perhaps from December 1, 2023 to January 2024, but EB2, India, and China are projected to remain stagnant. EB3 categories may remain completely unchanged given the rising demand and limited visa numbers. In short, December is a continuation month. It's the calm before the recalibration that usually comes at the start of Q2 of the fiscal year. For family-based FB categories, minimal progress is predicted through the holidays. F2A may move another few weeks forward, and F3 and F4, Mexico and Philippines might crawl ahead slightly, but don't expect leaps. Analysts anticipate a stronger rebound in early 2026 once the State Department redistributes unused family visa numbers from consular posts that didn't exhaust them in 2025. So where does that leave you, the applicant? The short answer, this is your window to prepare. When things look calm, that's when professionals move quietly to position themselves ahead of the next wave. You need to think like that now. Let's break down your 3-step survival plan for December 2025. Step 1, perfect your documentation. If your priority date is close to the cutoff, your goal should be to have your entire packet: Form 485, I-693 medical exam, employment letters, tax records, translations, and supporting evidence ready to go at a moment's notice. Too many applicants lose precious months scrambling for paperwork after the bulletin moves. Don't wait for movement to begin gathering. Treat this quiet month as your rehearsal. Check for expired medicals or outdated forms. Review your attorney's filing strategy. The next shift could come fast and without warning, and the prepared benefit first. Step 2, monitor policy signals. Behind every bulletin, the Department of State's internal algorithm balances visa number usage, per country demand, and consular workload. When embassies issue fewer visas, like during the late 2025 staffing shuffle, unused numbers roll over into the employment categories. That means January and February 2026 could surprise everyone with sudden advancement, especially for EB2 rest of world and select family preferences. Watch for early indicators: agency press briefings, FOIA data releases, and official USCIS processing time updates. When lawyers begin hinting at new movement expected, you'll already be weeks ahead. Step 3, prepare financially and logistically. Adjustment of status filings can be expensive. Government fees, medical exams, translations, and attorney costs. Don't let financial unpreparedness slow you down. Budget now, save now, and plan your timeline. If you'll be traveling abroad during the holidays, remember, you cannot travel after filing IRS 447H5 without advance parole. Timing matters. December 2095 may be the month to secure your papers before the rush returns in Q1 2026. Now here's the psychological truth behind this bulletin. Many immigrants see no movement and feel despair. But the smart ones see opportunity, because every plateau creates a preparation gap between the ready and the unready. When the next movement hits, the ready file within days. The unready take months and miss their moment. That tiny difference decides who waits another year. Let's also talk about risk management. Retrogression remains the wild card. If December brings unexpected demand spikes, especially from India and China, some categories could move backward. That's why filing as soon as you qualify is critical. When dates retrogress, new filings pause until they recover. Think of it like boarding a plane. Once the door closes, you can't get on. So if you see eligibility, get on that plane. Another layer to watch is the employment market. US labor demand influences visa allocations indirectly. Tech layoffs through 2025 have reduced some corporate sponsorships, but healthcare and construction visas are rising. If you're in a high demand sector, STEM, AI, energy, medical, consider whether you qualify for National Interest Waiver, INEF-PE, or EB-1A self-petition options. Those categories often move faster and remain current for most countries. Shifting strategies now could save you years. Community reaction also matters. In immigration forums, law offices, and Telegram groups, you'll hear both panic and patience. Don't let the noise dictate your strategy. Follow the data, not the drama. The Department of State publishes bulletins around the 10th of each month. Set a reminder, read it directly, and verify with trusted sources like Fragaman or Boundless. Stay grounded in facts, not rumors. Now let's tie this back to the big question that should still be ringing in your head. Where does this lead to? It leads to January and February 2026, the months where we expect the next real shift. By then, unused family visa numbers will likely roll into employment-based caps and the backlog math will reset. If you're ready by then, you'll ride that wave. If you're not, you'll watch it pass. That's how this system works. Preparation rewards speed. So yes, the November 2025 bulletin feels boring on the surface, but hidden under that stillness is a warning and an invitation. The warning, the margin for error is shrinking. The invitation, use this pause to sharpen your strategy, organize your files, and prepare for the next jump. Because when the December 2025 bulletin drops, the only question that will matter is, were you ready?